Hi, my name's Zach Wasson and I'm the founding director of Diadrone. Welcome to ANCOLD 2020 and the virtual presentation of our technical paper, a novel approach to defect mapping and condition monitoring of large dams using drones and digital engineering. For large dams, which by nature have a relatively long-term life cycle, consistently objective condition monitoring and surveillance can be a difficult outcome to achieve. These dams are often difficult to access and located in remote areas. The confluence of several technologies, including digital imaging, drones, and modern computing, provide the potential for cost-effective, rapid capture of these large and critical infrastructure assets, providing photorealistic visualization and scale-accurate digital twins for virtual inspection and assessment. This helps to increase the objectivity of condition monitoring and reduces reliance on high-risk activities such as working at heights, making data and insights more broadly accessible across stakeholders and the life cycle of the asset. In 2019, a pilot project was commissioned to trial the use of drone technologies for digital inspection and survey of a large rockfill embankment dam in New South Wales. There were two primary objectives for the pilot project. First, to identify and map defects within the concrete spillway, and second, to assess the feasibility of aerial drone survey to assist with ongoing deformation monitoring of the embankment. The methodology for the pilot project was based on the rapid capture of data while on-site and then processing, review and assessment of data off-site in a digital environment. The data capture was completed over 4 days on-site and included 3 primary activities: high-resolution drone photography, drone thermal imaging, and ground control survey. Images were captured with a small multi-rotor drone equipped with a gimbal-stabilized 20 megapixel camera. Direct georeferencing of the imagery, which provides an accurate geotag for each photograph, was achieved using an onboard RTK system. The image capture was planned to optimize pixel resolution to suit the intended purpose of the data. For the spillway structure, where images would be used for close visual inspection and defect mapping, image resolution was targeted to achieve 2 millimeters per pixel or less. For the embankment and surrounding areas, where the images would be used for aerial survey and general visualization, the image resolution was targeted to achieve 20 millimeters per pixel. Across the site, a total of 11,000 images were captured, 7,500 of which were of the spillway structure at the higher resolution. Thermal imagery was captured over the spillway structure to assist with identification of shallow subsurface defects in the concrete. Thermal imagery was captured first thing in the morning to maximize the temperature differential between homogeneous sound concrete and any delaminated or spalling concrete defects within the spillway structure, and to minimize capture of reflected infrared radiation, as would be the case once the concrete spillway was in direct sunlight. Thermal imagery was captured systematically on a slab-by-slab basis to assist with the post-review process and provide direct reference to corresponding RGB or visual photographs. Ground control points were established using a combination of GPS and total station survey techniques. The points were coordinated by the dam survey team while they carried out their routine displacement monitoring survey. This maximised the accuracy and the precision of the ground control network and helped to ensure agreement between aerial survey and ground survey outputs. Ground control points were established in suitable locations which were safely accessible on foot, would be visible in aerial photographs, and would provide robust constraint of the subsequent photogrammetry modelling. Photogrammetry software was then used to process the imagery into 3D geospatial outputs. The processing workflow generated a high-density point cloud, a digital elevation model, and a textured photorealistic 3D mesh, and an orthophoto. A combination of ground control points and the accurately geotagged photographs were used to geolocate and scale the photogrammetry outputs. For defect mapping, the outputs were reviewed by a team of data technicians to identify surface defects and thermal anomalies within the spillway chute and training walls. Thermal imagery was reviewed on a slab-by-slab basis to identify thermal anomalies, which were then cross-referenced against RGB or visual photographs. Defects and thermal anomalies were traced out in 3D and assigned a classification based on the nature of the feature that they represented. Quality control of the defect mapping was achieved through a closed-loop review process, whereby one data technician's defect traces were reviewed by a second data technician, and the process repeated until no further defects could be identified. The complete set of defect traces, or line work, were exported in 3D in a standard CAD format. For each slab of the spillway chute and segment of the training walls, a drawing sheet was produced which included the imagery and the line work of defects and the structure outline. The aerial survey of the embankment was achieved through a photogrammetry-derived point cloud, a digital elevation model, and elevation contours. These outputs were visually inspected for evidence of slumping, erosion, or other localized displacements of the embankment structure. The accuracy of the aerial survey was verified by assessing the difference between the photogrammetry-derived outputs and a network of ground surveyed checkpoints. It was found that the aerial survey achieved a root mean square error of 15 millimeters when compared to 5 checkpoints distributed throughout the survey area. This is approximately equivalent to a 30 millimeter accuracy at 95% confidence interval. With future repeat surveys, change detection analysis can be carried out to quantify displacements and spatial variations across the survey area. Reporting for the project was compiled into 2 types of deliverables. A set of drawings, which provided a factual and slab-by-slab record of the identified defects and thermal anomalies. The drawing sheets provide a quick 2D reference of line work and imagery across the chute and training wall slabs. Also delivered, a web-hosted digital twin provides a data storage and visualization solution that requires no specialist software or powerful computing hardware, making the outputs accessible across a wide range of technical and non-technical stakeholders. The digital twin includes all of the data captured and developed during the course of the works. It provides rich visualization of the textured 3D mesh, the point cloud, and the defect mapping results. Through the platform, users are able to view, download, and interrogate the geospatial data. So what are some points for discussion? Well, it should be noted that the defect mapping was carried out by geospatial engineers. Their capability with working with geospatial data maximised the utilisation and efficiency of the mapping process. But the results are only factual, with no interpretation or engineering assessment. Of course, a proper condition assessment of the structure would also require review and interpretation of the results by a qualified expert. Nevertheless, the process is expected to optimize the condition assessment process by allowing qualified experts to focus their time on interpretation rather than identification. Critical consideration for such projects is the pixel resolution of the imagery. A smaller pixel resolution allows for finer defects and cracks to be identified, but results in an exponentially increasing image count and time on site. For example, increasing the resolution from 2 mm per pixel to 1 mm per pixel results in a 4-fold increase to the image count and directly translates to an increase in time on site and processing time. Having some background knowledge of the structure and of the defects which are likely to be present or important to be identified assists with scoping such a project and optimizing methodology to suit budget constraints. For the aerial survey component, the lack of vegetation and highly textured surface of the embankment formation favoured photogrammetry survey techniques. It should be noted that drone LiDAR is also a suitable survey technique for such projects, though perhaps unnecessary for embankments which lack vegetation. As noted, the accuracy of the survey was verified by comparing photogrammetry outputs to ground survey checkpoints. Due to access constraints on the site, checkpoints were only established around the perimeter of the embankment formation. A more robust means of verifying accuracy would see a number of checkpoints established throughout the interior of the embankment formation and further away from constraining control points in the photogrammetry model. For dam monitoring, where displacements are relatively small, it's critical that each survey achieves the highest accuracy and precision possible. As mentioned, the accuracy of this aerial survey was about 30 mm at 95% confidence interval. This figure becomes something of a lower limit for reliably detecting changes with future repeat surveys. Considering the millimetre scale displacements expected of such a structure, it appears that aerial survey alone is insufficient for reliable displacement monitoring of large dams. Although not as precise, the drone survey technique provides rapid capture of the surface profile at many orders of magnitude more detailed than does conventional survey. It's expected that drone survey could form an additional layer of information that would be suitable for detecting and monitoring more acute or localized deformations such as slumping, rockfall, and erosion. In conclusion, the use of drone-based data capture proved to be an effective technique for rapidly capturing and recording the site conditions at a remarkably high level of detail. Overall, the outputs delivered were superior to what would otherwise be possible with conventional ground-based means alone, and provide a geospatial record of the asset's condition which can be reviewed in detail at a future point in time. The data from the aerial survey provides information and reduces uncertainty for areas of the embankment which would otherwise remain largely unsurveyed and only visually assessed. Considering the accuracy limitations and with current technology, drone survey techniques alone are not suitable for displacement monitoring of large dams. The compilation and delivery of a web-based digital twin provides the ideal basis for ongoing condition monitoring of the dam's condition and helps to ensure accessibility across stakeholders and continuity of information throughout the asset's lifecycle. I hope you enjoyed this virtual presentation and learned something useful about the possibilities of defect mapping and condition monitoring with drones and digital engineering. If you have any questions, please join me during the live Q&A panel on water dams on Wednesday the 11th of November, or share your questions in the discussion forum associated with this paper. Thanks for listening.